NASA is saying the Voyager 2 probe is now in a space between the stars. And finally, NASA on Tuesday said that it has found a heartbeat. The year was 2023. NASA had all but written off the Voyager 2 spacecraft as a quiet veteran of deep space exploration. Launched in 1977, it had traveled billions of miles, capturing the imaginations of generations with images of Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. But now, more than 12 billion miles away, Voyager 2 was in the dark, a relic drifting silently through the cold vacuum of interstellar space. That silence, however, was shattered by something no one saw coming. On a routine check-in at the Canberra Deep Space Communication Complex in Australia, NASA's Deep Space Network received a faint signal. It was weak, barely readable, almost like a dying whisper in an empty cathedral. But what caught engineers' attention wasn't the signal itself. It was what the signal contained. At first, it looked like simple telemetry, the usual blips Voyager 2 would send to indicate its condition. But something was off. There were patterns, unnatural rhythms, a series of pulses that did not conform to any known system of spacecraft communication. The signal had embedded in it a mathematical sequence, a structure too deliberate, too clean to be random. NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Pasadena immediately flagged the transmission. Experts from CD and astrophysics departments around the world were pulled into late-night conference calls. Everyone had the same question. Was Voyager 2 sending back a message it had received, not one it had generated? The idea was chilling. For over 45 years, Voyager 2 had faithfully broadcast data back to Earth. But this time, it wasn't reporting. It was relaying. Like a cosmic mirror reflecting something else. A decoded portion of the signal revealed what appeared to be a visual data packet. Engineers scrambling to reconstruct the transmission were able to retrieve a corrupted image frame. But within that frame were symmetrical shapes, glowing lines forming hexagonal patterns, something reminiscent of a city grid, but not human. Then, as suddenly as it had come, the signal stopped and Voyager 2 went silent once more. NASA scrambled to re-establish contact. They tried every frequency, every trick in the book. But Voyager 2 had gone dark again, as if that single transmission had drained its ancient circuits. The team at JPL went into overdrive, analyzing the data they had received. Linguists, mathematicians, cryptographers, and even military code readers were brought in under confidentiality agreements. The Department of Defense had been quietly notified. There was a growing consensus. The signal was not of Earth origin. But how could that be? Voyager 2 had no receivers tuned for alien messages. It wasn't designed to translate extraterrestrial signals. It was a messenger, not a listener. Yet the sequence embedded in the transmission was undeniable. Prime numbers, fractal-based modulation, echoes of an unknown language constructed from fundamental constants of the universe, hydrogen emission lines, Fibonacci spirals, binary pulses. Whatever it was designed to be understood not by any one species, but by any intelligence that could grasp math and physics. The image data, when enhanced using AI-assisted noise removal, revealed even more shocking detail. The hexagonal patterns weren't random. They formed a structure that mimicked a skyline. Elevated platforms, light sources, curved walkways. It looked like a city, but one built on a scale and logic that defied earthly architecture. It looked almost inverted, as if gravity had no influence. Could face the same fate. And then came the second anomaly. Days after the signal, ground-based telescopes reported a fluctuation in the cosmic microwave background in the direction from which Voyager 2 had last transmitted. A brief localized ripple, almost like a gravitational lensing effect, centered near the probe's estimated location. Was something or someone acknowledging contact? Publicly, NASA released a cautious statement. Voyager 2 may have experienced a power fluctuation or data glitch. We are investigating anomalous telemetry. Privately, they were in panic mode. The most unnerving question hovered over every room. Was Voyager 2 contacted by an intelligence that had been waiting in the dark? Because if it had, then it meant something or someone had heard us calling across the stars and had finally decided to answer. Weeks passed. The world moved on. NASA quietly shifted focus back to other missions. But within classified circles, the investigation continued. And what they uncovered raised even more disturbing questions. One of the digital forensics experts at Caltech noticed that the structure of the waveform had a delay echo like sonar bouncing off something massive. Further simulation suggested Voyager 2 had passed near a massive non-reflective object, one that didn't emit or reflect light, but that had a detectable gravitational influence. An object hiding in interstellar space. Could it have been a ship, a station, a probe of its own? NASA's more radical thinkers, usually relegated to theoretical circles, were brought in. Some proposed the idea of a lurker probe, a foreign device placed in our solar system or beyond, silently waiting for intelligent life to emerge and send out beacons like Voyager. Perhaps when Voyager 2 crossed its path, it triggered a kind of ping, prompting a reply. If that were true, then the final signal was not an accident. It was intentional. The golden record aboard Voyager, filled with greetings, music, and images of Earth, was meant for alien eyes. What if those eyes had finally looked back? What if what Voyager saw and relayed back was us reflected through the lens of a more advanced observer? As the scientific community wrestled with the implications, a final twist emerged. A second signal. Faint, distorted, but unmistakably real. Captured weeks later by a private observatory in Chile. It didn't come from Voyager 2, but from the same region of space. The signal contained only 3 repeating tones, followed by a brief pause, then again 3 tones. 3. Pause. 3. Like a knock on a distant door. NASA has refused to comment on the second signal, but leaked documents suggest there is now a dedicated task force assigned to monitor that region of space indefinitely. As of now, Voyager 2 remains silent. But the message it delivered, however brief, has forever altered our understanding of the void beyond. No longer is interstellar space simply an empty ocean. It is a realm of watchers. Voyager 2 may not speak again, but in its final act, it became more than a probe. It became a messenger between worlds. And we may never look at the stars the same way again.